machine shop and mechanical engineering since the time I was like, 5 or 6 years old. So I've been working with metal and steel and painting and doing, started doing watercolors and, oil painting all the way back to, early 60s. So now when I balance something, when I design it, I can tell where the balance is going to be without any kind of computer or math or anything. On this piece here, see how the counterbalance is there? It's into the piece, see, right there. And see, that makes it so this goes for a long time. Here's a small elephant. In other words, before you do a big elephant, you do a little tiny elephant. So here's a small elephant, see? And it's been balanced. And then you blow this up to a large elephant. So we actually do a prototype, like the size of those dogs over there. I would do a piece that big, and then I would blow it up to a life-size elephant. And so if it works at this size, and you blow it up to a 14-foot bull elephant, it theoretically should work at, 5,000 pounds. This is about 150 pounds. And when you take it up to 5,000 pounds, it'll work the same, maybe. Well, we have one out in the sculpture garden. It's a 30-foot giraffe. That weighs 10,000 pounds. And the head weighs 1,000 pounds. And instead of counterbalancing it, we weighted it, and then we put a little tiny motor in it that moves a little tiny weight, 10 pounds, back and forth. And that little 10-pound weight, when you move it forward, will move the 1,000-pound head. Here's the one we installed indoors. And it weighed 10,000 pounds. And it had to come through a little glass door like you just came through. And then we had to assemble it inside. And then the head was up here 30 feet with a little motor. Because there's no wind indoors. And see, it's surrounded by glass. See, here it is before we painted it, just the body. When we built it here, our ceiling is only 22 feet. So we had to build it, and then we never assembled it until we got out there. And we were lucky, it all went together, and we plugged it in, and it works. This is an older piece, New York City. This is Times Square. Has a television in it, neon. And this piece is made for inside. So we show people how to touch them, like this. Sometimes little kids get kind of crazy and they can bang them. But if you show them how to do it and their parents are with them, they can do it, No, I can remember going to New York City and seeing all the craziness. But this is like, this goes back to David Letterman. When he first came on the air. Yeah, this is way back in 99. And you can see here, Late Show with David Letterman. And he did a little thing where he had there was still X-rated theaters on Times Square. I remember they banned all, remember, it was one of the seediest areas in New York City. And so he had a man dress up as a bear and had money to see if he could get in an X-rated, theater. And of course, with the money, they let him right in. These are some of the older sculptures here. This one gets neon. I haven't even put it on yet. I have some certain pieces left in the additions and stuff. It's weight and balances, and this is a real simple bearing. And it builds up energy, and it wants to come back to neutral. See, so you knock it out of balance, and it keeps trying to come back. So you balance a certain way so it moves, and it could take 15, 20 minutes to come back to neutral. But on the big ones, like these outdoor sculptures like this, you can see over here, it has a bearing in there just like that one, but now the whole head without the pendulum. See, here's neutral, and then when the wind knocks it out of balance, it's trying to come back. So no, someone doesn't have to touch it. The wind can get it going. Here's the oven. Now this oven goes up to 500 degrees. And theoretically, I could cook 2,000 turkeys in here for Thanksgiving. But I haven't done it yet. But I could cook 2,000 turkeys in here. See, now over here, we're powder coating right now. And you can see there's a negative charge, and then there's a positive charge. Your powder has a positive charge, your sculpture has a negative charge. So it's like a magnet. The powder goes in the air, and then it bonds to the metal as a powder. Then when we put it in the oven, it melts the powder permanently into the metal. I got started doing sculpture in Silicon Valley. You know, I worked for my dad, and you know, from the time I was little, and I'd work for him all day, and then he'd have me at 5 o'clock. Everybody'd leave, and I'd be stuck there till 10 o'clock at night, you know, to get a ride home. So at a certain time, you know, I just stopped doing his work, and I just go start making my own work. It's been an evolution. I mean, I didn't start out doing kinetic sculptures. I started doing out, you know, just static, you know, hardline sculptures. And then I started doing sculptures that moved and with pendulums. And then when I started doing the animals, the first animal I did was a moose. And then after I did the moose, I said, you know, there's something wrong with it. Mooses are moving, their heads are moving, they're eating, you know, they're moving. So I said, you know, I'm going to tear it apart and make it move. And it's going to go outside because the animals are outside. And I said, instead of pushing it, I want people to just have it out there, and I want the wind to move it. So I balanced it and figured it out how to make the animals move. Like out here in the sculpture garden, I'll show you. Because animals are always moving. You know, kind of like people. See, when the wind starts moving, it will knock this head out of balance. And then the head will start moving. You know, wind comes in gusts, and it comes like, you know, stronger and then less. So this will move all the time when the winds blow. 20 years ago, they changed the cost of living in Santa Fe, you know, people getting paid. So Nambé shut it down and moved all their operations to China, to India, because they couldn't compete. Because, you know, they did all their casting here. So I got this space. I'd been looking at this space for 40 years, saying, wouldn't that be a great studio? It's, you know, it's perfect size though, with the outdoor space for a sculpture garden. So I got it for nothing. I came to Santa Fe, I think, over 40 years ago. And when I drove down the main street, I saw this space and I said, wow, what a great studio that would make. You know, sculpture garden, studio, gallery. And then it became available like 12 years ago. This is where I paint sculptures on the wall here. In other words, when I fabricate them, then I put them on the wall and then I spray paint them. These are for wall sculptures. And also I do neon over here. This piece here gets neon throughout the whole piece. It goes inside here. And then you get the neon coming through here, the light. See, and then like this guy, this is the wine guy. Instead of serving the wine, he's drinking the wine. This is an old piece here. A really old piece. This was for the Children's Hospital down in, I donated it to the Children's Hospital down in UNM, and I'm just redoing it for him. See here, these are pieces that are going to be cleaned and assembled. In other words, first I draw the drawings, then we put them in a computer, and then we send them over to this machine here. Now this is a CNC machine, and it fills full of water. And then it looks like a laser. from Star Wars, but that'll come down and cut out any drawing that I do. He's not going out flat like this. And then we'll put them together so that they're dimensional. They have to be ground and sanded, and because you're going to powder coat them, you can't have sharp edges on powder, because then you can actually fail. Over here, I do the hand painting on some of the sculptures here. It's going to be an eagle. This is parts for an eagle, and it's going to Virginia on the St. James River. But this is the parts for the eagle, and here's what the eagle looks like. This is the eagle right here. Now, this is a specific color that somebody ordered, and it's for North Texas University, I think in Denton, Texas. This is going to go on the busiest corner in Denton. Shipped a big piece to Ibiza. It was 18 feet, and it had to come apart, and we put it in a 20-foot container. They dropped off the container here. We put the sculpture inside the container, anchored it down, and then we closed up the container. The truck came and picked it up and took it to Houston. And then from Houston, it went on a ship. And then from the ship, it went over to, I don't know, Spain. And then from Spain, it went on a barge over to Ibiza. And then it went on a truck, and then it went up to their state. In other words, we ship anywhere in the world. I was shipped one piece right on the border of Germany and almost Holland or something. And that was the same thing. We put it in an 18-foot container. It was a big red bull, and it went on a boat to Houston. It went to Houston in a truck. Then it went to Germany, and then from Germany it went on to a truck, and it went on right on the canal. So when people came down the canal in Holland or Germany, they could see this big red bull. This will get blasted, then it'll get powder coated. We have a space suit and a big blast chamber. These horns catch the wind. As the head's wants to stop here, but when the wind hits those horns, it'll push that head back, see? And knock it out of balance. And then the head will start moving. This one actually moves a lot because of those horns. It's like a big sail up there. He's got a big fin up there and ears, and that will catch the wind. And then Puff starts moving. Normally the wind will catch these ears, just like a sail. Male elephant. This would be about as big as they get. This would be a really big elephant. I've had a lot of sculptures go through hurricanes, and all my sculptures have made it through the hurricanes. And that's about as much wind as you're going to get. You see the little motor up there. Little tiny motor. I did a little piece, and I didn't put his number on it, the little one, but everybody knew who it was. So his wife said, let's cut the crap, put his number on it and put his number on it. So I did an extra one. So I never got to meet Jordan. Well, the weird thing is I got to do a piece for one of the owners of the Bulls years later. And he and I became really good buddies. But this was after Michael Jordan. And then I kept wanting to see him play since I did the sculpture for him. I said, I want to see him play. So I bought a ticket a year in advance to see him play in an exhibition game in Albuquerque at the Pit. And he retired a month before that.